My neighbor kept photographing me on my balcony, so I started posing with evidence of his other crimes until the police finally paid attention. Every morning for 3 months I'd step onto my balcony with coffee and the click of a camera would follow. At first, I thought I was imagining things. Then I caught a glimpse of my neighbor, Evan, quickly ducking behind his curtain, camera in hand. I confronted him in the hallway. "I'd appreciate if you'd stop taking photos of me." He blinked innocently and said, "I am a photography enthusiast. The morning light is beautiful from this angle." Then he smiled in a way that made my skin crawl. I reported him to building management. They sent him a generic warning letter. The quicking continued. "I called the police. We can't do anything unless he threatens you," they said. Taking photos from his own property isn't technically illegal. The apartment across from mine was my first place without roommates. I'd been so proud of my independence, but now I kept my curtains closed, my balcony unused one night. I heard a commotion outside. Evan was dragging something heavy from his car to the building at 3 a.m. A rolled up carpet, too heavy for just carpet. That's when I realized, if he was going to document me, I could document him too. The next morning I stepped onto my balcony with coffee and a newspaper. I positioned it so the headline about a local burglary was clearly visible. I heard the familiar click and smiled. Operation Expose. Evan had begun day 2. I watered my plants while prominently displaying a book titled Digital Evidence and Cat Crime. Skishing day 3. I accidentally dropped papers that, if photographed with a zoom lens, would show printouts of license plates part, including his part with time and stamps from nights when local break-ins occurred. Spricking day 4. I chatted on the phone about those missing packages from 3B and 5A part, both actual thefts in our building part, while looking directly at his window. I never accused him directly. I just made sure his precious photos now contained connections that would raise questions if anyone ever examined them. On day 5, I brought out a small mirror and positioned it to catch the sunlight while I pretended to do my makeup. In reality, I was using it to photograph him photographing me. I also made sure my laptop was open to a eto about tenant rights and stalking laws. By day 7, the clicking had stopped, but I wasn't done. I printed flyers about a building safety meeting with Evan's photo captioned, "Know your neighbors," and hung them in the lobby. Management removed them within hours, but not before residents had seen them. That evening, Evan confronted me in the parking garage. "You think you are clever," he hissed. "You should be careful what games you play." His hand gripped my arm hard enough to bruise. Perfect. I reported the assault to the police with the bruise as evidence. When they questioned him, they found my previous reports. The officer, now taking me seriously, asked if Evan had ever photographed me. I mentioned my suspicions and helpfully suggested they might find evidence on his devices. 2 days later, police returned with a warrant. Read out, my mysterious photographer had quite the collection, paired to not just of me, but of several women. And those weren't the only concerning images they found. Remember that carpet at 3 a.m.? The photos on his camera connected to an ongoing investigation about stolen artwork from local galleries. The time and stamp matched a theft from the previous night. Evan was arrested for stalking, possession of stolen property, and burglary. As they led him away, I stood on my balcony, sipping my coffee in the morning light. No camera clicks, just the sweet sound of silence. Sometimes, when the system fails you,